Hello, I am John Remy from GLM Research. So GLM is a company that offers all kinds of research services from market research to academic research, basically any kind of research services. And trainings is part of what we do at GLM Research. So today we're going to just have a look at SPSS. This is a session on introduction to SPSS. Um, Maybe the objectives of this session is that by the end of it, you're able to conduct basics procedures in SPSS. This could be from entry of data to conducting basic analysis, descriptives, drawing basic graphs, and maybe now undertaking in basics inferential statistics. So the assumptions of this session is that you've already downloaded your SPSS. If you have not downloaded your SPSS, please do so. You can always do it from the Get It Into PC platform where you can crack an SPSS, or you can have your trial version from the IBM platform. You just register your email, register for a trial, and then you can use it to practice um, for the SPSS. So I've already shared the screen. So this basically is how the SPSS looks like. The most important thing for you to understand are the two windows. So we have the data view, and the data view is where your data is visible. Then you have the variable view. The variable view is where you define variables that you are going to use in SPSS. Then on the top here, we have the taskbar, we have the file edit. Um, we'll be able to see some of these functions as we move ahead with the session. So for the purposes of this session, I want us to simply enter some data into SPSS. And once we've entered that data, then we can do simple analysis from the same data. Um, Again, for the purposes of this, for this session, I want us now to just assume that we're doing a study. Let's talk about a study on um, maybe life satisfaction. We want to understand what would be the factors that would affect life satisfaction of an individual. And we can just assume that we have a scale that measures life satisfaction. Of course, now there are many online scales that could measure that. So if you are entering the data, so this is you come here from in this variable view. So we just assume that we went there out to the field and we talked to people about what really could affect their life satisfaction. So maybe one of the things that you noted about these people, maybe you recorded their age. So let's assume that our very first variable is age. Once you talk to the people that maybe you're able to reach out to. So I'll just write the name age. So under name, you just write age. Um, then once you age, of course, it's numeric. Then from here, you can be able to determine the number of decimals that you want your variable to appear. For instance, now if you enter the variable age, once you click on the data view, you can see here that now we have age here, so that now from you can be able to enter specific data. Let's just enter some variables here. We can assume that I'll just be entering random variables that maybe these are the age of the people that we were able to reach out to. I'll just do 10 entries for the purposes of this. I'm just doing random entries just for the purposes of illustration. So as you can see now, this variable, there are two decimal places. You can reduce that, you just come to variable and the decimals. Now you can reduce to 1 to be 1, can reduce to no decimal, then there'll be no decimal for that. So you can just be able to type this data directly into your SPSS directly like that. Let's assume now that the second variable that you got was gender. You were able to note the gender of the people that you reached out to. So, and maybe now variable 2, we are talking about gender. So again, you realize that when you're talking about gender, gender could be male, female, and sometimes now there's that option of maybe prefer not to say. So in SPSS, it's easier for you to analyze data if it is in numeric form. But when you talk about gender, this type of data is not numeric; it's string because it's letters. It's male, female, prefer not to say. So what you do is that you code your the categories for your data. For this noun data to remain numeric, you code it. So you come to values. Here we have values. You just click on these values. Then you click on this plus here. Then you talk of value number 1. You can call this female. So that now SPSS, you know, every time you talk about 1, it's female. So that now instead of entering female as a label, you enter 1. 1 is a numeric that can be measured, and you can do analysis on it on SPSS. Then value 2, let's call it male. And value 3, let's call it prefer not to say. Once you do that, then you click OK. So again, I've said that the values. So I've seen that gender is a string variable because these are letters, male, female, prefer not to say. But now you make sure that you present them as numeric. So you just come here and define your variables. We've said 1 female, 2 male, 3 prefer. There is no really way of numbering this. It can be 1 male, it can be 1 prefer not to say, as long as you understand how you were able to put through that. So again, when it comes to data view, so in gender now here, you can now, again, you can just enter a few, I just do it randomly so that we have it like that. So again, you can see these as 2 decimals. You may want to reduce that decimals because I'm not sure that it may not have a decimal really, because these are just whole numbers. So you can just come here and reduce your decimals. Once you click again to the data view, so your data will not have any decimal place in that case. I want us to go to another variable, which I want to call education level. Now, I want you to note something. The first 2 variables that we have here, age and gender, these were 1 words. Or just age is 1 word, gender is 1 word. But now I'm introducing a third variable, which I'm calling education level. Education level are 2 words. So when you are defining variables in SPSS, so you don't do spaces. Let me illustrate this. So when you come here and the variable and write the one, the education level, you click enter, you see it tells you that it's an illegal character because you are space is recognized as an illegal character in SPSS. So what you do, if you have a variable that has two ones, such as education level, you just write the word education, then underscore level. Once you enter like that, then you're able to see it. Again, when you come to data view, you can see it here, education level. So again, just like the case of gender, education level is a string variable in itself because we are talking about maybe somebody in high school, maybe college, university, that kind of a thing. So what we do, just like we've done under gender, we define these variables. So you come to values, you click on values. Once you have this pop-up of values, you click on the plus. So one, you can just, we will just create different levels of education. So one would be high school. Two would be college. Three would be university. For the purposes of this class, we can just have these three because it's just for illustration reading. So once you have defined, it could be more, you can approach this in the context of high school, certificate, diploma, master's, PhD, whichever based on how your data set looks like. But the purpose of this is just to show you how now you enter this kind of data. Once you've defined the variables, you just click OK. Again, you may decide now you don't want decimals, so just click on no decimals there. So we have the education level here. So again, we can just enter, we can just enter we can just enter this randomly, the 10 like that. Now, we have these three variables, age, gender, education level. We were talking about satisfaction. So I just want us to have a variable called satisfaction. And we just for the purposes of this, we assume that we measured satisfaction on a 10 scale, maybe 1 to 10, asking a person how satisfied they are about life. So that will now be a numeric, So again, we can decide that we don't want decimals. So satisfaction, we just give, again, we just give random variables from 1 to 10, just indicating how these people are satisfied about life. So 3, 4, 7, 9, 10, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9. I've just given them just the simple, just random values so that you can be able to see what we're talking about in this specific case. So now you have your data set. So you can be able to, using this format, you can be able to enter as many variables as possible, as many data entries as possible. If not so, suppose now you have your data in Excel, probably you have your data maybe in Word, you have your data somewhere and you don't want to come and start typing one by one into SPSS. So what you do in SPSS, you talk about importing data. So if you have your data in SPSS, you cannot, no, if you have your data in Excel, you can always import it into SPSS so that when you come to SPSS, you're not typing one by one. How do you do that? You come to File. Under File, you click on Import Data. So these are the different data that you can import. This could be Excel, CSV, text data, SAS, or Stata. So if it's Excel, you just click on Excel. Now you have this pop-up, so you can look in. You just click on this. You know specifically where your data is where your data is. So you can just select any data set, then you open. So at this point, I know once I open it, you overwrite on what we have, and I want us to use it now for analysis. So simply this is what you do. You just click on it and you open. Once you open, your data set appears and you're able to continue working on it. So the first thing that you can do once you have your data set is to do simple arithmetics. So, for instance, we have age. We may want to know what is the average age, what is the maximum, minimum, standard deviation. These are what you call descriptive statistics. Basic descriptives are related to your data set. So, how do you go about that? You click on analyze under this kind of this window here. You click on analyze, then you click on descriptive statistics. You click on frequencies. Once you have that, you have this table that appears here. So you select the specific variables that you want to do statistics or whatever you want to do with them. So in this case, I want to do simple descriptives for all of these. So I'll just select them into this variables window. From that, I can click on statistics. So just click on the statistics. Now this window appears. Once this window appears, you now click on specific statistics that you want to analyze based on what you want with your data set. Let's talk of maybe under central tendency, we can talk of mean, median. Then under dispersion, we can talk of standard deviation. We can just maybe talk of this. You may select any of these statistics based on what you want with your data set. Once you've done that, you click on continue. Then this version of SPSS allows you to create APA style tables. So you realize that in most reports, you require to present your tables in APA format. So this version of SPSS allows you to do that directly. So you just click on this, create APA style tables, then you click OK. Once you click OK, you have this window that comes out. This is what we call the output window. So the output window is where now you get your results. So the results for this, as you can see now, we have this table that has the basics. So, for instance, the mean for age was 37 years, and the standard deviation was 10. The median was 36. Now, when you come to interpreting this kind of data set, you see the age is a continuous variable, but gender is a grouped variable. So you cannot come and say the mean or gender is 2, because gender in itself was a grouped variable or a categorical variable which had male, female, and prefer not to say. The same case with level of education, but satisfaction was a continuous variable, so that we can say the mean satisfaction of our population was 6, and the standard deviation was 2.9. So when it comes to these categorical variables such as gender and the level of education, the best way now to interpret them is through now these frequencies. For instance, you can check at gender. Gender, you can see female were 2, male were 6, prefer not to say were 2. Then it gives you the percentage. Again, when it comes to level of education, high school were 2, college 5, university 3, and it gives you the percentage. So this now becomes the best way for you to interpret your descriptives or baseline statistics for gender and level of education. When it comes to continuous variables like age and satisfaction, you mentioned their mean and standard deviation. So you just transfer this to your word. You just right click, then you copy. You copy this and now you paste it to your Word or wherever. So you can copy it as an Excel, as a plain text, as an image, and you can copy it now in different formats and paste it to your wherever now you want to paste this. Um, once you've done the basics of this, you may also decide that you want to do, you may want to say that you want to present this visually. For instance, you're talking about gender being male, female, prefer not. So you may decide that you want to present this visually. I'm talking this in terms of now having simple graphs that you can be able to present this visually. So you go to graphs and SPSS, you go to chart builder. You click on chart builder. So you can see now this pop-up for graphs as different ways you can click. You can create the charts directly, but for the purposes of this, I want us to use a chart builder in SPSS. You click on chart builder, you have this pop-up, then you just click OK to define what specific chart you want to use. You have this pop-up that comes up here. So down here to the gallery choose from, you have different charts. So you select the chart that you want to use. For basic statistics, it could, in most cases, it could either be a bar graph or a pie chart. A pie chart is better when your categories that you want to define are not more than 5. So that I'm saying not more than 5, so that you see you don't have a lot of your chart is not too squeezed. A bar graph could take more than 5. So in this case, we are building graphs for variables with categories. So in this case, we'll be building graphs for the 2 variables that have categories, which is gender and level of education. So allow me use pie chart for gender. So I'll just click on pie here. Once you have this, you drag this into this area. So this pie chart, you drag it into this area, you just hold it with your mouse, then you drag. You drag it like that. So we want to do gender, so you just click gender here. Then you drag it, you see, now in this chart, we have this area of slice by. So you take gender, you drag it here. then I want you to take note of this pop-up here, because you can, this is now how your graph is divided. You can define under statistics here, you can decide it to do by count. By count means it has, we have 10. So female are 5 or 6, male are 3, prefer not to say are 2. That is what we call about count. It can be by percentage, which will still be the same thing. Percentage, the male has 50%, the others 20, the others 30. So basically, you can be able to set that. Then again, under chart appearances, if you click here under chart appearances, you can be able to define specific colors that you want. So this is category 1. You can change the colors. As you can see, once you change the color, it changes automatically like that. So you can be able to change the colors. For instance, you may be working in an organization that is maybe for there are specific colors that you want to just stick within those colors of your organization. Or for whatever reason, you may want to just work with specific colors. For in this case, we are talking about gender, male, female, prefer not to say. So you can be able to adjust these colors just in the best way that you see possible. Once you've done all the manipulations of your chart that you want to do, then you just click OK. Once you click OK, this now brings you to the output window. In this output window, you can be able to see how your graphs looks like. So it's just represented it in this way. But now, if you look at this graph, we don't have the numbers inside. For instance, we are talking about male being 5 or 6, female being 2, 3. So you can now have the numbers inside. How do you do that? You double click on your chart. Once you double click, there's this pop-up that appears. You go to options, and then not options, element. You click on element, then you click on data labels. So you click on show data labels like that. So what is displayed here, you can see this. What is displayed here is the percent. You can decide that you want to show the count. Rather than, you're talking about this being 20%, but they are 2. So if you want the count, you just click on count here, you bring it up. You may remove the percent or you may retain. Once you do that, you just apply. You have the count. You may decide that inside this chart, what you want is the gender displayed. So just click on the gender here, you take it there, you remove that, then you apply. You have the gender displayed. So you can be able to manipulate this chart based on the way you want it to do. Then under the text layout, you can be able to decide where you want your text to be, horizontal, top down, bottom up. The chart says you can minimize or expand this chart size. You can also change the fonts of this. So the size, this font here, you can change the font based on the way you want. So the idea here is that you can manipulate your chart or present it in the different ways, in the way that you find possible. Once you've done, you just close this. So you have your chart like that. So once you're satisfied that this is the chart that you want to use, you just click on it, you copy, and then you paste it to your Word document or wherever now, or wherever that you are going to use that chart. So back here, I want us now to do a bar graph. So the same procedure, you click on graphs, you click on chart builder. Once you have this pop-up, you click on OK. You realize now this has from our previous chart. So what we do here is just to reset. You click on reset so that you remove all that. Then we are talking about a bar graph. Remember, we talked about now doing the graphs for the variables with categorical items. In this case, we had gender and education level. So in this case, now I want us to create a bar graph for education level. So you just select this bar graph. You select the bar graph. Then we have education level. Click on education level, and then you bring it here, x-axis, like that. So again, under chart appearances, you can decide that you want different colors. You can decide, you want different colors for different categories. You can also decide here under chart elements, you can decide that you want to do the count, which means high school 5, college 3, university 5, like that. You can decide you want to do cumulative count, percentage, cumulative. You can also decide that you want to do mean. Because for instance, when you have a very large data set, you may just want to show the mean. You may just want to show mean in the graphical format. So you can change these based on how you want to see best. Allow me just retain it count. Once you're satisfied with how you've manipulated your chart, you just click OK. So again, that brings you to, it brings you now to the output window. So again, if you're not satisfied with how your graph looks like, you just double click on this. You have this pop-up that appears, and you can edit. And then under elements, you can show data labels. You can be able with just click on show data labels. In this case, we can just have the percentage in this case. You can also be able to manipulate the other numbers as you find fit. Let me just use the percentage, then you close. You just cancel this. So you have your percentages like this. You can be able to manipulate these the way you want. So that's how now you create the graphs. You can be able to create as many graphs as possible from your data set. You can do line graphs, you can do scatter plots, you can do histograms, you can do different kinds of graphs based on what you did, what you need. So it's the same process. What we are talking about is here, you go to graphs, chart builder, okay. So you can be able to select those graphs here, and then you can be able to manipulate them the way you want directly. Remember, when you are doing the descriptives, upper on the analyze descriptives frequencies, there was here, if you look at this pop-up, there's an option for charts. So you can click on these charts, and you can be able to create the charts directly from these. But now, as you can see, these charts, the charts that are here, bar chart, pie charts, histograms. So you can be able to just create a chart from these directly. For instance, you may want to do a chart for gender. So you just ensure that you only have gender here. Then you click charts. You can do bar charts, chart values, let's have %. So you just continue, then you click OK. So you just have this kind of chart whereby now we have the percentage here. So you can create the charts directly from that descriptive option. But now the chart builder gives you a wider option because now it has a wide array on how you can manipulate these variables. So once you've presented your data you've shown the graphs, you may also decide now to do inferential statistics. Now, we could now try to do something like correlation analysis, just to see how different variables are correlated with each other. So to do that, you come to analyze, then you come to correlate. The correlation here is called bivariate. So you come to bivariate. So you select specific variables that now you want to do the correlation with. We may want to see, for instance, we may want to see whether there is a correlation between age and satisfaction. That means we may want to understand whether the life satisfaction of a person increases with age or does not increase with age. So you can just select these two variables. What we are talking about is the Pearson correlation, which is and options. You may want now to do. You may want to chart with the mean and standard deviations, but we had already defined these and the descriptive statistics, so we may not necessarily need the mean and standard deviation. So you just click OK. So you have now this table for correlation. So the correlation here is 2.84, which is quite low in this case. Then the significant is 0.427, which is greater than 0.05, which means the two variables are not significant. There is no significant relationship between the two variables, which means in this case, it means that life satisfaction does not necessarily increase with age. You can be of lower age, you can be young in this case and have higher life satisfaction. So maybe now it means that there may be other factors that may affect life satisfaction. So again, you can copy this into your Word. You just right click, copy, then paste to your Word document, and then just ensure that you're able to interpret it correctly. So the different interpretations of this is something that we'll be looking at in our the entire class for SPSS that we will be talking about. So again, we have these variables that we also want to see how they affect life satisfaction. So in this kind of a case, what we do is we do a regression analysis. So you come to analyze, you look for regression. This is a regression. The regression we are talking about here is the linear regression. So we click on linear. So the dependent variable is actually the variable that we want to see how much it changes. In this case, it's satisfaction. So this is the dependent variable. The other variables, we may also include age and now treat them as the dependent variables. Under statistics, again, you may want to define different things here. You may want to do descriptives. You may want to do collinearity. In our main class, we'll be talking about the assumptions of linear regression when we talk about linearity, collinearity, multicollinearity, and how these may affect your regression analysis. So in this case, we use the default. Under the plots, you may want to plot a histogram, a normal probability plot. Again, we'll be showing you the specifics of these under regression analysis. For now, allow me just to click OK. So this is your regression analysis. What under the model summary, what matters is the R squared. You see the R squared here is 0.569, which means that this model can only explain 56.9% of the variability of the variability in these variables. So under this model summary, again, we have the ANOVA. So our focus here should be on this significant. If this significant is more than 0.05, that means that the model itself is not significant. Part of the reason why the model is not significant is because of a small data set, because we just use a small data set just for the illustration purposes. But if you are doing analysis in SPSS and you realize that your model is not significant, it's time for you now to recheck on your data, to recheck whether there's any missing values or any errors that you have made. And in this case, now you see our model is not significant. All our three variables, there's no value that has a significant level of less than 0.05, which means that none of these values affects life satisfaction. So it's time now, in this kind of case, it will be time for you now to relook at your study, relook at the variables that you did, and try to see whether there's any mistake you did. But now, in this case, the purpose of this was to show you how you can enter simple data into SPSS and manipulate that data. So we will be delving in deeper into this, into our SPSS class. We have an entire SPSS class that is 20 hours. So you can be able to join that class, and we'll be able to go in deeper into manipulating the data sets and undertaking in advanced analysis based on this specific data set. So the details for that will be provided. So we just will be provided, and we just want to thank you now for your time and the commitment to listening to this. So we'll be sharing more as we move ahead. So thank you so much for your time and for listening. So thank you.